Hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to iExamB. We are back with yet another success story for RBI Grade B Officer 2022. Today I have with us Mr. Shivam Gupta, who's become an RBI Grade B Officer in his very first attempt. So many congratulations, Shivam, from my side and the entire team of iExamB.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so some interesting points that I would like to tell about Shivam. He's cleared RBI Grade B Officer exam in his very first attempt, along with a full-time private sector job. So he's a data engineer with in the private sector. He's been working there since 2021, and he decided to give RBI Grade B Officer exam this year and cleared it in his first attempt. So, very interesting story. Shivam, why don't you give a background or an introduction about yourself and tell us what got you interested in giving the exam for RBI Grade B?
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. So, firstly, everyone, welcome to the session. So, I'm Shivam Gupta. I'm from Haridwar. So, as I'm already told, I'm a data engineer. So, actually, I did my graduation in computer science. So, I graduated in 2021. So, last year, when the notification came, I was not eligible to give the examination. So, this is the first time I gave the examination because it was my first time I was eligible to give the examination. But I had in mind to give RBI in my fourth year only because like I always had this dream to work for a big organization, a organization which serves some purpose. So like RBI is a very great organization to work for because like you all know how important RBI is for the affairs for managing the financial affairs of the country. So that was my prime reason to focus on RBI, and RBI is the only exam I focus for. That was the like that is why I was able to prepare this examination along with my job.
Okay, great. So, Shivam, this is true.
So I was very clear why I want to join RBI, and I was doing a job because I don't have any option. I had to do the job because of some reasons. But I would say RBI is not UPSC, so it is very much possible to prepare for RBI along with the job because the syllabus of RBI is not very vast. Even there are some people who clear UPSC along with their jobs. So RBI is like nothing in front of that. So like because if you see RBI syllabus, it's hardly a 4 or 5 months. If you prepare very well, hardly 2 3 hours a day, every day for 4 or 5 months, it's very easy to cover the syllabus and prepare yourself for the examination.
So,
So
very
it's yeah.
interesting. Sorry, Shivam, yeah, you wanted to
Yeah,
continue.
so it's like not required to leave your job for RBI Grade B. You should be like
Okay.
you should manage your time. If you are able to get 2 3 hours every day and you are able to stretch to 7 8 hours on a weekend, it is very much possible.
Okay. So, very interesting actually. What I was saying, Shivam, was like you said, the syllabus is not very vast. Okay. Majority of the students actually feel the syllabus is very vast because it runs to 2 or 3 pages in the notification at least,
Yeah.
right? So, a very interesting point that you have brought, that it is not vast. So, why do you think it is not vast?
See, if you try to see the syllabus now, it is very much basic. So if you
Mhm.
see the syllabus of BA or MA in finance, in compared to that, this finance is nothing of that sort. It the RBI. So see, before seeing syllabus, just see what RBI exam wants from you. It wants you to be a manager. So it doesn't want you to be a professor or expert in finance. So the syllabus is designed in that way only. You should know the basic understanding. You should know what RBI do, how RBI do, how banks work, what different types of banks are there, what different instruments are there, and like that. So if you prepare all these things, in a very like you should be interested in knowing that. So let me give you my example. So I know I never used to do anything of any dealing in financial markets or any dealing in bonds or anything. But after I was reading all this in the syllabus, I got interested because it was the first time that I got to know, okay, all these things are there in the market and we can also invest, and how government and RBI manages all these things. So this interest helped me to prepare to cover the syllabus very easily. And the syllabus is very like basic understanding of the complete financial system. So though it is a bit big, but if you prepare it very well, like 2 3 hours a day for 4 5 months gives you 500 400 hours approximately. And that is very like see, only thing here is consistency. If you have the consistency, the syllabus is not big. And if you want to go into RBI, you have to cover it. So there's like no excuse for it. You cannot you cannot say that the syllabus is big. That's why I can't prepare. You have to prepare. And in 400 to 500 hours, it's very manageable to cover the syllabus.
Right. So good points actually, Shivam, that you brought out. One that we need the basic understanding. It's not that we have to become an expert for any of the topics, but it is about the general understanding of the
Yes, ma'am.
economy, of the financial system, because that is where RBI is operating. So we should be able to understand the entire environment in which it is operating. So, and if we actually break down, like you mentioned, the syllabus looks vast when we are reading it across pages.
Yes,
However,
ma'am.
if we actually break it down, what is to be understood, like you mentioned, financial system or the economic setup, we can narrow it down to 4 5 broader topics of the economy, which are very interesting actually to know, to see the entire money flow from
Yeah.
one hand to the other. So nice. So that is very well presented, Shivam. I'll move a step back. Like when we say about the syllabus actually per se pertains to phase two majorly when we are talking about the finance and we are talking about the economic and social issues. However, before reaching that stage, one has to clear phase one, which is more like an aptitude phase where you have to clear quant, reasoning, general awareness, and English. And reasoning and quant from last 1 or 2 years has been one of
Uh,
the areas where people have actually missed out clearing phase one. So, what had been your approach for phase one?
and like you said, quant and reasoning had been, very difficult for people to clear. Let me tell you my story, ma'am. In this year's examination, I hardly got 7 or 8 marks in quant. So,
Okay.
like, I am an engineer. I have good quant. I already, I always had that, belief that I'm good in quants. But in the examination, when you go in that pressure and that when the question paper is also tough, it becomes very hard. So my strategy for phase one is reverse engineering. So I know the syllabus is tough, but you need to figure out how to do that. So firstly, you need to figure out how much marks you need, or like for example, quants. So they're 30 marks paper. So you first need to do try to break down how much marks comes from which topic. Then you need to find out in which topics you are comfortable. For example, you are comfortable in arithmetic or geometry or something else. Then prepare like that. So like my like when I started my preparation, no like when the notification came, at that time before that I was only preparing for phase two. But after the notification came, I realized that it is not easy for me also to clear phase one because of these reasons, because I know the exams is tough. So what I like my strategy was to first, so this only I prepared the list of topics that I need to prepare. Then I prepared them from YouTube. They're very good teachers who teach on YouTube. So topic wise I did that. I then then for reasoning also and for quants also. For English, I believe English is not that tough, and you need to score good marks because if you miss out in English, it is very difficult to clear the cutoff. And English is easy. So for to prepare for English, you need to give mocks and analyze them. That's the only way. If you're decent enough in English, the mocks are the only way to prepare it. You don't need anything else. The English is not that tough. And for GA, you need to prepare at least 4 to 5 months GA. I will recommend 8 to 10 months if you're preparing now. But if you have less time, at least prepare for 4 to 5 months, because that is the most important, because they ask more questions from the recent topics.
Recent
and
topics.
and I will say this, daily prepare it before, like when it is 4 to 5 months you believe in the examination, daily prepare it, because if you prepare it for monthly magazines, it will be 300 pages, and while you are working it will be very difficult. But daily it jots down to only 10 pages per day, and 10 pages per day is very easy.
Very
And
easy.
also some people they believe that they feel that it is very vast to cover GN. They can't recall it because it is very vast.
Yeah.
But believe me, if you do it daily for you will, when you will start, suppose you start in January, you start it daily, you will find it very difficult to remember it. Firstly, to read it happened with me also. But when 1 week or 2 week pass, after that it become very easy, naturally very easy for me to read it and remember it. And then like if you prepare daily, 10 pages are manageable. So do it like
Very
that.
true.
Don't just leave it for 1 month and then I'll prepare, after the
Exactly.
monthly magazine come.
Yeah, Shivam, that's I think very important point because see anything will look bulky if we do it at a stretch, but if we break it down on a daily basis, reading every day 10 pages is not a big deal, and we ourselves prepare the GA magazine, BPDA we call it on a daily basis, which is hardly 5 to 6 pages, and it is definitely with the first day or the first week when we start, of course we'll feel lost. Anything when we start new, even in school when we started going, first week is always you feeling lost, but things will keep coming to you if we are consistent with it. So like in BPDA we believe that if we consistent, we'll be able to do that. So that's why we start with 5 questions from the previous day, because if you're able to remember, that is a kind of happiness brings. Okay, now I am able to remember. Otherwise we, yeah, of course, this is a generic feeling, anybody can feel lost. So I think it's a very important point, Shivam, that you brought out, that if we do it on a daily basis, it is not a big deal and it will
Because like
start.
them, I know many people who don't attempt
Yeah.
the exam because of vast GA. They say that, 6 months GA, 300 pages per month, it equals to 2000 pages and we can't remember. Obviously you can't
No, of
remember. You have
course.
to do it daily and you will
and
be able to remember.
and Shivam, if I have an add here, nobody can remember, even the best of
Yeah.
teachers will not be able to
Yeah.
remember if
If you
if
start
they
one
will
month
start.
before and you think,
Yeah.
you can cover it, you cannot.
Right, very
And
true.
one thing I
So
want to bring up here, like
yeah.
BPDA, you said, one thing I liked about BPDA is, after every topic or every news, BPDA also gives us, a gist of the static about it. And
Yes,
that is,
yes.
very helpful. Because I also
Helpful.
believe,
Yeah.
question comes in phase two from the recent topics very much.
Exactly.
And if you
No,
read that, it would be very beneficial.
thanks, Shivam, for noticing that aspect. And actually, at IXM, we try to take care whenever we are designing any kind of a product or any kind of a note or video. We try to bring in all the important aspects at one place, because all the people who are preparing the content, they have given them exams themselves, so they understand how things work and what is important, and how
Yeah,
to bring out the most important points from so much news that is available. So trust us on that. And Sushil sir is always there to keep guiding us on that aspect.
yes.
As you also mentioned, you have been watching a lot of his videos for guidance. So if I move ahead, Shivam, I'd also like to talk about phase two. You already mentioned that you took the syllabus and you tried to cover all those aspects. There's a list of books also that has been mentioned in the notification. Do you advise, or did you yourself go through any of those books?
Like I would not advise to go through those books because those books, like, they're very vast. And like if you have 4 5 years, definitely you can go through those books. But if you want to prepare it in 6 months, 8 months, then like it is not advisable because we don't want to master every topic. So you need to have understanding. So they have given books for you to read because like they have to maybe. But I don't recommend at all to go through books because they're very vast and like there's nobody to teach you that, like to read the book on blackboard for you and teach you everything. So it becomes very difficult. Though for understanding, you should read books. I would say that I will not say that don't never read books on
Yeah.
finance on these things. If you are interested, definitely you should. But if you only want to prepare for the examination, then reading by the books and then preparing it, I won't recommend it.
It may not be very time efficient in
Yeah,
actually
that is the point.
that ways. No doubt those books are good on a
Yeah,
standalone
they are
basis, but
like the best books. But if
yes,
you are just an aspirant to clear the examination, then I won't recommend.
exactly, that is there. I'll just take up one or two queries that have come up in chat here. धीरज, संजय एंड ओम, आप लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि जिन हिंदी वाले कैंडिडेट्स या जिनकी इंग्लिश थोड़ी वीक हो, उनसे भी कुछ बात की जा सकती है, या उन्होंने भी क्लियर किया या क्रैक किया. सो आपकी नॉलेज के लिए हमने जो पहला सक्सेस स्टोरी किया था श्रेयश के साथ, वो हमने हिंदी में ही किया था, एंड उन्होंने एक्चुअल इंटरव्यू भी हिंदी में ही दिया है और हिंदी के थ्रू ही उन्होंने क्लियर किया है. तो यस, हिंदी और जो इंग्लिश में अपने आप को कमज़ोर समझते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि वो क्लियर नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि ये एग्ज़ाम दोनों भाषाओं में दिया जा सकता है, हिंदी में भी और इंग्लिश में भी, एंड आप वो वाली सक्सेस स्टोरी भी रेफ़र कर सकते हैं। आई विल आस्क शिवम इफ ही इज़ कंफर्टेबल। शिवम, हम कुछ बात हिंदी में भी कर सकते हैं कुछ
बिल्कुल मैम।
स्टूडेंट्स के बेनिफिट के लिए। बिल्कुल, सो शिवम भी थोड़ी बहुत हम इंग्लिश में भी और हिंदी में दोनों का मिक्सचर करेंगे, सो दैट आप लोग के बेनिफिट के लिए ही हम लोग ये सेशन कर रहे हैं। सो शिवम, अगर मैं थर्ड स्टेज की बात करूँ, इंटरव्यू। सो इंटरव्यू स्टेज पे जब आप पहुँचे होंगे, आपने जब रिज़ल्ट देखा होगा, आई एम श्योर बहुत ज़्यादा एक्साइटमेंट हुई होगी कि आपने क्लियर कर
Excitement
लिया
and
है ये।
surprise also.
सरप्राइज्ड आल्सो। अच्छा, एंड नाउ दैट यू से दैट, आई रिमेंबर्ड कि एक्चुअली फेज़ 2 में डिस्क्रिप्टिव पेपर भी आता है। तो मैं इंटरव्यू पे जाने से पहले एक बार थोड़ा-सा टाइम लूँगी आपका डिस्क्रिप्टिव के लिए। तो क्या आपकी स्ट्रैटेजी में कोई डिफरेंस था फॉर प्रिपेयरिंग ऑब्जेक्टिव पार्ट एंड डिस्क्रिप्टिव पार्ट?
Definitely, ma'am. Like descriptive is like RBI added descriptive because it doesn't want those candidates who just muck up. So that I believe is the main reason why RBI introduced descriptive answers. So for descriptive answers, so first thing then that you should have is good writing, good typing speed.
Mhm.
So I know many students who missed because they knew many things but they couldn't type in stipulated time. Secondly, you should have very holistic understanding of the topics. So like you can because see in objective answer you have the answer in front of you. You can analyze, you can think and answer it. But in descriptive you have less time and you have to write more. So the most important thing there is that you should have holistic, a holistic view of everything. And I would like to thank Susheel Ragade sir for telling a strategy for it. So what he told was, he told us to have a page, break it into 8 pieces, and then write. Suppose in the first box write the definition. So let me give an example. Suppose MSME is there.
Mhm.
So a general student will write MSME as small industries and this and that. But if you are a good candidate, if you want to score more marks, what you should write is, according to the MSME Act of 2005, MSME is defined as this. If you want to write financial inclusion, so according to C. Rangaram Committee 2008, they, defined financial inclusion as this. So that gives you a very, very, good look on your answer when the examiner is reading it.
Yeah, that
So
you are
what I,
aware कि how it
yeah,
came. Yeah.
yeah, no, like instead of just writing a general answer, you should have, a very good answer. So these type of things helps you in interview also. Suppose you want to they ask you what is the definition of a bank. You can very well say bank is a place where people go and deposit their money. But according to Banking Regulation Act, there is a definition given in the act. If you write that definition, it gives a very good impact to the examiner that yes, this candidate is very very serious about the examination. So so what I used to do is for every topic I used to prepare a page on that topic so that I can get points while I'm writing it in the examination. So for example, definition, then what is the advantages of this, then what are disadvantages, what is the government doing in this. For example, financial inclusion, so some schemes I will mention in the document, then some of the things that RBI did, then some of the things where we are lagging, then some of the things from my end that could be improved, and a conclusion, what is a holistic conclusion. So I used to prepare like that for many topics. So I did that after my phase 1, because I knew that I had good understanding of the objective, but for subjective I need all these things. And it helps because in the examination there's a lot of pressure and
Right.
there's very less time, so there's no much time to think. You cannot sit there and think, okay, this could be this could be this. There you have to write, like endless writing I did. I don't even
Okay.
remember, I was not able to concentrate what I'm writing, but it just naturally flowed because I had this backing with myself. So it
Great,
helped
great.
me a lot.
दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। आपने जैसे बताया कि सुशील रगड़े सर की आपने एडवाइस ली थी उनको, एंड आप सेशन से पहले आप मुझे बता भी रहे थे कि आपने
Yeah.
सीपी सर की वीडियोस भी आप फॉलो करते थे, और एसआर सर की, सुशील रगड़े सर की भी आप वीडियोस फॉलो करते थे गाइडेंस के लिए। सो आई थिंक ऑब्जेक्टिव में आपको वो 300 सीरीज ने बहुत हेल्प किया था, एंड डिस्क्रिप्टिव में आपका ये प्रैक्टिस आपको काफ़ी हेल्प करी है। So that is very good, and actually Shivam, it gives us very very you know, pleasure and happiness when we see that students are actually taking the advice and working on it and doing, reaching their dreams. So mission accomplished for us as a team when we see students realizing that yes, this strategy works and this guidance helps. So thank you for
And I'm like, one
taking
more
out
thing I
time
want
to
to
say
add.
that.
I want to add
Yes.
for descriptive is evaluation. So like descriptive is an art. You can
Mhm.
learn it. and you have to
Mm-hmm.
build over it. And
Yeah.
very importantly for descriptive is evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
So try to write answers. Don't just go in the examination with the notion that I know and I can write. Firstly, to write
Okay.
then
Yeah.
write. Start from writing and then get your answers evaluated, because after the evaluation you will get to know what are your weak points. And there are people who do that, there are people who evaluate your answers, and the feedback from them will help you build, because it's an art. You can think that you are best, but you know you are not. So you need to take feedback from people and build over it. For example, for me, my conclusion part doesn't used to be very good. So this feedback I got from many people. So after
Okay.
that, what I did, I went on Google, then I searched from some UPSC people's answer sheets, and I saw that how they write their answer. Then I saw how they write their conclusion, their introduction, and then I build it over it. So I believe because of that, I was able to write better answers in the
Right.
examination.
Very,
And
very
that is a very
important.
decisive part, because if you lose some
Yeah.
marks before because of all this, then there's no point in
Yeah,
depending after it.
because that differentiates, because
Yeah,
content more or less
everybody knows. Yeah,
everybody knows. It's about how you are presenting it, how you're structuring it. And if I talk about presenting and structuring, I think that plays a very important role in the interview also. How exactly are you
definitely.
answering at that moment rather than what you are answering? How you are answering becomes even more important. So how did you prepare for interview, Shivam?
And interview, I believe, is a decisive phase.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So interview, I believe, ma'am, is the decisive phase. So ma'am, in this examination, I believe phase one and phase two are for rejection, but interview is for selection. So
Selection.
the interview panel is sitting there to select you. So they are the final, I would say, the decision making body. Irrespective of the mark that you got in phase one and phase two, they are there to take you in or move you out. If you can see from last years, people get marks from 3 to 73. So if you got 3 marks, believe, if you even got the first rank in phase two and you're getting 3 marks in interview, you cannot clear the examination. And if you're getting less marks in phase two and then 70 plus in interview, you are sure shot cleared. So interview is there to do everything. Interview is a decisive phase. Irrespective of your marks in phase two, interview will decide whether you will get selected or not. So that's why RBI also increase the weightage of the interview. So for
Yeah.
interview, I believe the most important thing is your personality. So because your knowledge test is already done in phase two, so they don't want to test your knowledge. You need to know the answers to answer them. You need to say something at least. So you need to know the answers, but the panel is looking for your personality there. So first and the most important thing for interviews is your profile. So after phase two, they give you a biodata form to fill. So
Yeah.
you need to very well prepare your biodata form, your profile, your education. Then if you're working, then your work ex. If you have gap years, then why you had that. You need to have good answers. So after that, you could prepare some of the current topics also. This year, if someone would have been preparing for interview, they would have prepared Russia Ukraine war, then
Yeah.
crisis in Sri Lanka, then debt trap, then why there's inflation, why there is recession, could recession come, what RBI could do, and all these things. So you need to prepare firstly your profile, secondly all the current topics, and then also try to have a good understanding of all the topics of the phase two. Prepare 1 or 2 lines on every topic, so that you don't feel lost in the examination, in the interview, I mean.
Interview. Yeah. Yeah. So Shivam, like you mentioned, your profile is very, very important, and you were mentioning that your interview was focused more on your profile all along. So, how was your mock interview at exam be helpful for your actual interview, Shivam?
Yeah, I gave 3 4 mock interviews, and also with IXMB also. So one thing, very important thing that I got a feedback in the interview was that I sometimes when I'm feeling underconfident, I speak very slow, or very in very less very less volume, or I
Softly,
try
yeah.
to, yeah, very softly I speak, or I try to avoid it. And the people on the side, they are able to judge it, that I don't want to this answer, don't want to answer this question, or I feel underconfident to further answer questions on
Further,
this.
yeah.
So sometimes this happens with me. So in the interview, I kept this in in my mind, and I was prepared, I was talking with full confidence, even if I know more or not, I was talking I know it. So you need to be you need to build on it. And interviews are very last stage currently.
Yes.
I would say prepare phase one and phase two, but after you clear phase one and phase two, work on your profile, work on your speaking skills,
Yeah.
prepare some of the topics, prepare some of the answers, and try to like, because the personality is something which you are, and you can
Yes.
very well manage it, but you need to prepare it over the year, I would say. So, like, over time you cannot just be a different person on one day or in one month. So, like, try to have it, be a social person, be a person who talks about things, and it then interview would be a cakewalk, I would say. And have a good profile. If you don't have a good profile, it would might dent, I don't know, but it might dent your interview. So have a good profile, prepare your profile well, then prepare all the current topics. And the last important thing is be confident in the interview. If you are confident, even if you don't know some answers, it's not necessary to answer all the questions. You should very, like, I myself said no to, I believe, 3 4 questions.
Three.
So, like, it is,
Okay.
there's nothing. If I don't know it, I don't know it.
दैट्स वेरी
So,
इंपॉर्टेंट शिवम, जो आपने बताया। कई स्टूडेंट्स को ऐसा ही लगता है कि अगर हमने आंसर नहीं किया तो मार्क्स कट जाएंगे। एक्चुअली इंटरव्यू एमसीक्यू एग्जाम नहीं है कि
yeah.
आपने सही बोला तो मार्क्स मिल गए, गलत बोला तो मार्क्स कट गए, ऐसा नहीं होता है। इंटरव्यू इज टेस्टिंग योर पर्सनालिटी, आपकी पर्सनालिटी देख रहे हैं, वेदर यू कैन थिंक ऑन द फीट, आप
Yeah.
कैसे रिएक्ट करोगे किसी भी सिचुएशन में, क्योंकि ज़रूरी नहीं है हर सिचुएशन आपके कंड्यूसिव हो, आपके बारे में हो। प्लस आप अपने बारे में और अपने एनवायरनमेंट के बारे में कितना अवेयर हैं। एंड यहाँ पे मैं अपने बारे में इसलिए बोल रही हूँ, जैसे शिवम बार बार बोल रहे हैं, हैव अ गुड प्रोफाइल। गुड प्रोफाइल का ये मतलब नहीं है कि अब आप सोचें कि अरे मेरा बहुत स्कूल अच्छा होना चाहिए तभी सिलेक्शन होगा, कॉलेज बहुत
Not
अच्छा
right.
होना चाहिए। आई थिंक व्हाट ही मीन्स हियर इज गुड प्रोफाइल इज कि आपने जो अपना प्रोफाइल वहाँ पे बायोडेटा में प्रेजेंट किया है, आपको उसके बारे में अच्छी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए, वहाँ पे वो ट्रुथ होना चाहिए, ऑनेस्ट होना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं है कि अच्छा दिखाने के लिए आपने कुछ भी लिख दिया और आपसे जब बात किया जा रहा है तो आप उसको जस्टिफाई नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, या आप पकड़े जा रहे हैं कि आपने कुछ झूठ बोला है वहाँ पे। वो चीज़ नहीं होनी चाहिए। आप बहुत अच्छे से आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपने क्या लिखा है, वो ट्रुथफुल होना चाहिए एंड आपको उसको कॉन्फिडेंटली प्रेज़ेंट करना है। तो ये
Like,
बहुत
मैम,
ज़रूरी
like,
है।
किसी भी इंटरव्यू को तबाह करने के लिए सिर्फ एक झूठ काफी है. If you
एग्ज़ैक्टली।
सिर्फ एक झूठ, if you say wrong thing, if you say something lie and they are able to catch it, you are done.
And mostly they will catch you. They are very
They
very
will catch you. Yeah.
experienced, and I really like to say this again and again कि वहाँ पे जो लोग बैठे हुए हैं उनकी उनका एक्सपीरियंस आपकी एज से ज़्यादा है। तो प्लीज़ ये मत सोचिए कि आप ब्लफ कर जाएँगे, आप झूठ बोल देंगे एंड आप बच जाएँगे। बिकॉज़ आपका कितना भी अच्छा प्रोफ़ाइल हो, कितनी भी अच्छी एजुकेशन हो, कितना भी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस हो, लेकिन अगर आप झूठ पे आ गए तो वो इंटेग्रिटी इश्यू हो जाता है। वहाँ पे फिर आपको कोई भी कंसिडर नहीं करेगा। हमें वैसी चीज़ करनी ही नहीं है। एंड शिवम ने जो चीज़ बताई कि इंटरव्यू के लिए ज़्यादातर हम सोचते हैं कि हम आखिरी में प्रिपेयर करेंगे, बट अपनी पर्सनालिटी को डेवलप करने के लिए कोई एक समय नहीं होता है। मतलब ये तो लाइफ लॉन्ग प्रोसेस है। सो इस पे आप बिल्ड करते रहिए, नॉलेज पे बिल्ड करिए, कॉन्फिडेंस पे बिल्ड करिए, स्पीकिंग पे बिल्ड करिए। एंड जितना आप फ्रीक्वेंटली इसको प्रैक्टिस करेंगे उतना आप बेटर होते जाएंगे। यस, टाइम लगता है, लेकिन डे वन पे एक्सपेक्ट मत करिए वंडर्स होंगे। कंसिस्टेंटली इस पे लगे रहिए, बिल्कुल रिजल्ट मिलेगा सिंगल माइंडेड फोकस के साथ। एंड ओके। सो 2-3 चीज़ें ऑल्दो आपने थोड़ा बहुत बताया है, मैं बस रैप करने से पहले शिवम 1-2 बार आपको फिर से बोलूँगी कैंडिडेट्स के बेनिफिट के लिए। उन्होंने जैसे पूछा कि जीए के आपने अगर अपने खुद के नोट्स बनाए थे, तो किस चीज़ पे आप फ़ोकस करते थे? ये प्रशांत ने पूछा है, कैसे आप बनाते
Okay,
थे?
ma'am. So, GA के लिए most important thing is finance and economics, I would say. Firstly, see, in the phase one, they ask everything.
हुँ,
Though most importantly, economics and finance. So suppose there are 80 questions, around 30 35 questions will be from economics and finance, but also question comes from other things
या,
also. Like, for example, like, something happened in some national park, so they will ask you that. Something
या,
happened, in some state, they will ask you capital of that state, governor of that state. So you need to prepare everything. I would say there's the thing which is more important, which is less important. So, like, sometimes what happens now, what something which we consider is less important comes in exam and we are able to answer it. For example, for me, some day came and I didn't knew that, but I knew because of some news. There was a holiday. It just clicked my mind, that this day was on this day. Like, suppose I don't remember exactly what was the question, but like, for me it is not easy to remember dates. So I totally left preparing these things. Suppose this day falls on which date, but in the examination, the question came and I was able to answer. I was like, oh my god, this is something I never prepared. I was able to answer. So I would say, for GA, prepare everything. for phase one. For phase two, the most important part for GA is finance, then the RBI notifications, and for ESI, the PIB. So PIB is the Public Information Bureau. So the government, like they update their website, daily or weekly. So you can prepare from there for ESI and for FM, RBI notifications, and the finance news is the most important. After that, don't prepare for other things.
Yeah, so I think that's very very helpful. And Shivam ने जैसे बताया ना कि he wasn't preparing for dates, but he remembered that question. So actually consistency, और जो शिवम शुरू में भी कह रहे थे कि every day 10 पेजेस पढ़ना डिफिकल्ट नहीं होता, लेकिन अगर वो कंसिस्टेंटली आप करते रहो, सबकॉन्शियसली आपके दिमाग में क्या क्या बैठ रहा है आप रियलाइज नहीं करते हैं, द वंडर्स रिविजन एंड कंसिस्टेंसी कैन डू. तो
And also, like the GA can,
या
help you, clear phase one very easily. Because if you rely on quant reasoning and you think, you're very good, it would be difficult. But GA is 80 marks and
80 marks
cutoff is
highest.
66. So
Exactly,
if you
हर
prepare
year.
GA for 3-4 months, daily 10 pages, phase one will be cakewalk. For me also, I told you I got 7 marks in quant, but I was able to clear the phase one because of GA only.
जी
So
वेरी
if you
मतलब इट
prepare
इज
GA
वेरी
well, it is
इंटरेस्टिंग.
easy and you are sure shot clear in phase one if you prepare well for GA.
Right. So we need to understand our strengths and weakness and accordingly look at our strategy. एंड क्वांट में भी बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स होते हैं. शिवम ने जैसे बताया उन्होंने ऐसे टॉपिक्स देखे जो कर पा रहे थे एंड उन्होंने क्वेश्चंस भी वही अटेम्प्ट किए जिससे उनको मार्क्स मिल जाए और वो क्लियर कर पाए कट ऑफ का. अदरवाइज
For me, ma'am, what was the thing was I was good in quant, so I prepared, from 15-20 marks, and I was good. I thought, I will score above 10,
स्कोर.
but in the examination it was last. I was very much tired. The question paper was tough, so I panicked a bit in the examination. So I was hardly able to manage 7-8 questions, and I was a bit frightened. But somehow, because in the pressure also, in the last some minutes I was able to do some questions and do it. So anything unexpected could happen in the examination. that
एग्जैक्टली
that is
एग्जैक्टली.
the point I want to make. Even if you think you're good in quant or reasoning, unexpected things will happen in the examination, and you need to be ready for it. So don't just think that you are good in this topic and you will prepare very well, and then just you need some cutoff marks in other topics and you will be able to clear, because anything could happen in the exam.
Yeah. So this is very good advice, and I will close on this last point. Expect the unexpected. Always be prepared because that shows, as a personality, as a person, how we react in different situations. Because we may be presented with certain things we are not,
And
prepared
that is
for.
one thing a manager
So
is expected to do in his
exactly.
job profile.
So I was exactly going to say that शिवम कि आपकी जॉब ही यही होने वाली है कि expect the unexpected, keep your head high, keep your confidence, and you will be able to sail through. And very, very good points, to the point conversation with Shivam. I'm sure it is very, very helpful for a lot of future aspirants. बहुत लोगों की help करेगा ये interview, Shivam. And thank you so much for taking out time to talk with us, share your story and your strategy. And congratulations once again on becoming the RBI Grade B Officer and fulfilling your dream. Wishing you a very great career with RBI.